Hello, today is August 6th. The time is 12 p.m. The video clip you just seen was from an event last night after 11 p.m. of a police helicopter that circled where I am right now. And this event from last night is what's inspired this video. I'm looking and I can see through the trees, headlights, and it looked like you can see a shadow going in front of the headlights. So I knew someone was on foot. And of course I'm concerned because I don't know who it is and if they're going to come here. Well, as it turns out, it was two RCMP vehicles that had come up in front of my vehicle. I guess they were trying to figure out exactly where I was. And when I had asked them, how did they know where I was out here? I guess the Calgary police knew where I was. Now, they can triangulate cell phones, even I guess with a weak signal or no signal. I don't know about that, but whatever. So I guess they had an approximate, like 50 feet or 100 feet of me where I was. So they were trying to figure out how to get to me, and they got to me.
But then also ran your phone and found that you're out here.
All right.
So that's why we're out here to check on you.
Everything is fine. Anyway, there's nothing wrong, okay?
Okay. All right. You have yourself a good night.
All right. Anyway, so they ended up leaving. Maybe about 10, 15 minutes they left. And as they were leaving, I heard a helicopter in the distance. Didn't think much of it, but whatever. And then it started circling my area. Pretty low. It was loud. It was a police helicopter. And I'm realizing now whatever's going on is not over. So I just sat. I think I made a tea. And it was about 20 minutes, half an hour, circling. And two different RCMP vehicles came, but they came directly to me, so they knew exactly where I was. So there was some sort of communication. I already answered all the questions. They left.
Who they left? Who's they?
The RCMP.
No, we just got here. That was us.
No. Two guys had just left. Maybe about 20 minutes ago. And this helicopter is circling around. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And now you're here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to harm myself. I have plenty of videos saying where I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
No, there hasn't been anybody else out here since we've been here.
Okay, well, there you go.
Are you talking about the guys in the helicopter?
Yeah.
And you're telling there's two RCMP guys that were here.
No, they didn't see them. What's your date of birth then, Tim?
I'm not giving you any information. I didn't have to give information to the other guys, and I'm not giving it to you.
Okay, well, Anthony.
This is becoming harassment. So you're telling me that you have no record of two other RCMP officers here?
Showing 1030 Victor on his CNI.
No. No.
That's hard to believe. You mind not shining that in my eyes, please?
Okay. I don't understand why you're being so difficult.
I'm not being... I already answered. I talked to your guys already for 15 minutes. They left satisfied.
But the guys whoever was here, they weren't RCMP officers.
Yes, they were. Yet they were RCMP officers.
Nobody was here. We've had a helicopter on you.
I know.
Yeah.
So who were the two that I was just talking to? They were
No idea.
They were RCMP.
Wouldn't be from we're the ones that cover this area. Wouldn't be from us. You said someone was here like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. I'm trying to explain something to you.
Yeah.
So okay, so they were already here.
Today? At what time though?
Like 20 minutes ago.
Because we've had a helicopter on you for longer than 20 minutes and nobody
I'm
was
telling you, the two guys, and we were talking. there's nothing to it. But how do you prove anything? You're left with a he said, she said scenario, regardless of what it is. And I'm not trying to, I don't want to see anyone get in trouble or lose a job or anything. But if a wrong has been done, then really, in the ideal world, you would, admit to it and accept the consequences and move on. And in my particular case, it's not happening. So, anyway, this guy's taking my picture. So I just wanted to say, as I'm talking here, and I took a video of this. So this guy pulled up in a very expensive, it looked like a Mercedes or something, and had pointed the camera right at me, and was taking my picture. And now he just drove away. And I had recorded it. I don't know what to make of that. And if I said this wasn't the first time I had something bizarre like this happen, then, yeah. Hello, it's May 2025. When someone's life is like a Hollywood movie, most people cannot relate because of their limited life experiences, their limited knowledge bases, perhaps limited critical thinking skills, and definitely their emotions. When someone's life is like a Hollywood movie, and I've done a few videos about this, people cannot relate. Now, this video is inspired by a few recent events, and I'm making this video for whatever it's going to be worth. Now, before I get into these current events, I'm going to give a little history. Now, I've stated, for example, how I've had my photograph taken many times by people in public places. Very blatantly, I've shown a video when I was recording a video, how someone had came up about 2 parking stalls away from me with a telescopic lens taking my photograph. That wouldn't be the first time that happened, but this is the time that I'm going to be using as an example with evidence. And it is what it is. I've had people approach me in public parking lots. For example, I'll be going into a store or something and being approached by individuals saying, "Hey, do you mind we take your picture?" With a very straight face, very professional looking. What can I do? I'm in a public place. I carried on with my business, came back, they're still there. So this is a type of thing that I deal with. Now, I'm going to fast forward to August 2021, where I was in a relatively remote location. And one night actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was maybe around midnight, I heard some unusual traffic on a dirt trail in front of me, some distance away. And long story short, it turns out that was the RCMP, the federal police here. And they were alleging anyway that they were there to check on my mental health, which had me completely perplexed. I was totally caught off guard with something like that. And I asked them, how did they find me? And they said the Calgary police pinged my phone for some reason. So I had this conversation with them, and they ended up leaving. And I heard a helicopter somewhere in the distance coming in, and then it circled around me. And I was trying to film it, but it's dark, but you can still see the flashing light towards the right side, bottom right, more towards the middle, flashing. And that went on for about an hour. An hour later, more RCMP came, the same story. And when I had told them that I had just spoke to you guys, they said, no one was here. It's just us, trying to make it sound like that I'm crazy. But I recorded the first guys, so I'm not crazy. I didn't tell them that, but whatever. And they ended up leaving. And then it was the next day I was advised to leave Alberta, which I did. Now, these are the types of things that I've dealt with over the years. And it is what it is. I don't worry about it. More at times when these things happen, they take me off guard, and I'm kind of like somewhat shocked about it because you don't expect it. But this is my life. And for those watching might think, well, this is kind of crazy. Well, it would be maybe if I didn't have the evidence to support it all. Now, where I am now in Canada, I've had a couple of similar type of events. One not so similar, but along the same lines, but definitely the most recent one being very similar. And again, I'm kind of shocked about it because I wasn't expecting it. And what's really behind all this, who knows? But I thought I'd share this for whatever it's worth. Now, I know when, well, I'm not going to go into too far history, but I'm just going to go with my efforts in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. When I was at the nonprofit mental health organization working there, and I began talking about the sexual abuse, trafficking of these vulnerable women, and told Alberta Health Services about it. It's supposed to be in confidence anyway. I've talked about that in plenty of videos. And then having to deal with a false allegation via anonymous tip about some sort of sexual assault. There was another male co-worker as well who was part of all this. Now, are all these things tied in together, or what's going on? I have no idea. I'm just simply sharing what I know, what I can prove. Now, when it comes to that false allegation through anonymous tip, I did end up finding out that it was to a third party with no direct connection to the organization where I worked. However, there was a connection between the new executive director and another person. But that kind of all got debunked, that allegation to some degree, but what I was eventually told that it's not over by this new executive director. But what I noticed afterwards, after the two former officers did what they did to me, they tried pinning prostitution, voyeurism, because I was audio recording. Well, they must have found, well, they did find the audio recordings to, they tried to pin all these different things on me, and nothing ever became of them. And even their, for example, sex crimes unit said, there's nothing here. Like, you can't go trying to create something that's not existent. And the reason why I'm highlighting all this, when I took over the trial, I debunked the whole thing with my evidence. So what is left? What do we see happening with other stories of individuals who maybe in a similar efforts, we'll say, is they try to make them crazy or appear crazy or have an official story that they are crazy. And I've highlighted for over a decade how the mental health industry, the liberal arts, theoretical pseudoscience of psychology, is used as a weapon, not only against individuals, but society overall. So I don't know what's really going on, because I'm having the same things that I had in Alberta and the province that I was in when I almost died the second time and remained there for some time. And now it seems to be kind of following here, where I am now, for whatever it's worth. Again, I'm not saying or implying connections or anything else, but I'm just saying there's a pattern, definite pattern here going on. So take what you will from this, and I do put my videos when they go public. I have videos scheduled on in my Facebook group and my personal page. Every time they come public, I post them there. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. A third version of the disclosure package, which some of the contents wasn't given to me during the trial. And a police profiler made an uninformed conclusion about me, my character, whatever, based only on the former officer's notes. And this report was concluded at 9:10 a.m. the next day, several hours after I was released from the police station. I would have been at the hospital around that time. I'm going to read this line. His actions mimic those of a pedophile grooming a child. It's the first time I read it not too long ago. I'd never seen that before. Somehow, the story goes from raping or sexually assaulting this female, being co-accused with a male co-worker, but to that. And over the years, I couldn't understand why all four of the lawyers that I had, and the Crown Prosecutor's Office, and everybody that I talked to, everybody, all treated me like I was a piece of shit. Now I know. That person who made that report never talked to me, made this conclusion solely based on, and it's very clear in the whole document, based on what the former officer stated. This is why all these years I've asked and paid people very well to help me, and because this is what they're thinking. An uninformed conclusion based on other uninformed conclusions and assumptions, all based on a lie.
They did not feel like they have the capacity to make medical decisions based on their discussion. Oh, that's crazy, bro.
Here we go.
Why are you doing this?
Imagine being so programmed that you have strong emotions around a subject and you don't even know why.
The question was, would anyone detect that we were saying? The answer was, no. No one ever did.
The controversy regarding the myth of mental illness and psychiatry is not about science or medicine, it's about power.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.